Well, let's come up to date a little bit. So you had the chemotherapy. What was the next step?
Then I had interval debulking surgery and basically a hysterectomy, and they took my omentum as well, which is the fatty apron just here. I think I had a number of tumours scattered around, and they took those out as well.
How successful did they feel the surgery was?
It was very successful. It was very good, yes.
And did your body recover fairly promptly from the surgery?
I found it very difficult because about 3 weeks after the surgery, they gave me some more chemotherapy. And at that point, I can honestly say I thought I was going to die. I felt so unwell. It was untrue.
That session or cycle of chemotherapy was the worst, was it?
It was, definitely.
And was it due to the combination of the surgery and the chemotherapy?
I think so. My body just didn't feel strong enough. And I did have a lot of complications through my chemotherapy in that my bloods weren't recovering quickly enough either. My immune system was really suppressed and I wasn't really recovering as quickly as I should have been, hence the number of admissions into hospital. It made me very, very sick as well.
But that wasn't the end of the process for you. What happened after that?
After the chemotherapy?
The second bout, yeah.
The second bout. I had some more chemotherapy after that as well.
So you've had more than your fair share of applications of chemotherapy?
Yeah. I've had basically 2 cycles of chemotherapy and 1 major operation.
Yeah. After all that was done, were you told that you got an element of stability in terms of your cancer? Did the cancer go into remission at all?
Not at that stage. I didn't find out, well, I didn't have a scan until the 15th of May, and I got the results from the scan on the 2nd of June, which was my birthday.
And what were the results?
It was that they couldn't see any cancer on the scan.
So things had gone well at that stage?
They'd gone really well. And when I was in the oncologist's office, he told me, but there was something wrong. I was with my best friend and she said, "Why are you in such a bad mood?" And I just said to her, "It hasn't gone." I just knew.
You felt it happened?
Yeah.
You were sensitive to your own body in a way?
I think there was something telling me that how could all that possibly have gone? How can they be so sure that it is all gone? For some reason, I just did not believe him, even though there was absolutely no evidence on the scan whatsoever.
So they couldn't see anything, so at face value, the treatments had been successful.
Yeah.
And you were told that things were clear and probably sent away into a monitoring phase.
Yes,
where
that's
you
correct.
were just seen, maybe not as regularly, but for checkups.
Yeah. They told me to come back on the 4th of September for my 3-month checkup.
And with ovarian cancer, isn't it the case they can measure the blood level of a particular marker, CA125?
That's correct, yes.
And so they've got a way of testing you without being too invasive, if you like.
Yes, that's right. So on the 4th of September, they did a CA125 blood test. And 2 weeks later, I got the results, and it was over 100, and it was just over 100, I think, at that point. I think the normal value is around about 35. So they could see that it was rising again. Yeah.
So there was a slight warning flag at that point?
There was, yes. At that point, they sent me for another scan, and 2 weeks later, after that again, it revealed a couple of tumours.
And when was that? When are we talking about?
The scan was on the 15th or somewhere around that time of September. I found out at the end of September that I had 2 more tumours.
And we're talking about just about a month ago, just over?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So you had actually this disturbing news that it had come back. What was your reaction emotionally at that time?
For the first time, really, I actually was really upset. I did actually burst into tears at that point. It wasn't a stunned silence like it was the first time. It was almost like, okay, here we go. This isn't good. And of course, when it starts coming back, you think, perhaps the doctors were right. Perhaps I really don't have any control of this thing, and perhaps it is really all down to fate. So of course, I went into this phase for about 2 to 3 days. And I thought, okay, I better start planning things. And actually, I've done an awful lot of work since then, planning things, just in case. Because I think at that point, I really had to face the truth of it. I'd lost my mum of the disease. The statistics weren't great. And to be honest, it's just come back, and it's come back very quickly. So I guess that was difficult.